Alright, today we're going to be taking a look at a little AIO, the dotAIO by dotMOD. It's in this box here. I did get this used, so it'll reflect that. Some information there, and I also got the dotAIO, the RBA section. So I can do a coil rebuild, and I'm going to be using this here. And that's what this comes in here. They're kind of tank head, so you can screw it on mod to test fire it and whatnot, but we'll get into it. And got some nice little gold leaf in there, gold coloring, and our mod here. Got the blue color, gold accents. And does use a USB Type-C port on there. And I'll get some dimensions there, and we'll pull out what we got in the rest of the box here. A little manual here. Sticker, authenticity card, little user manual. You know, your different power settings, what the lights mean for your power. Set those on off the side. USB-C cable. A little tighter mouth to lung 510 drip tip. Very tight. Probably like a 3 or 4 millimeter bore in there. Little baggie of goodies. O-rings, a rubber felt pad, and some extra O-rings are fill plugs. And I'm not completely sure what this is. This is my first looking at it as well. So it looks like it does use a 510 drip tip. I like to see. You can use your own there. If this is a little too gaudy for you, then you might want to consider switching that out. But not too much of a fan of the gold, but I do like the shape of this drip tip. And does appear to be metal or aluminum. The hole there. And let's get a couple of dimensions here. So we are going to be 45.4 millimeters in width, or length, and 22.8 in width, and 78 in height. Does take a single 18650. Got some magnetic battery panels here. Got 3 magnets there. Very clearly indicated battery markings there. Other side pops off. That's where you got access to the tank. The tank comes out just like that. It's kind of spring-loaded. Got a little indent up there. You can reach in there and pop it on out. And you got airflow adjustment at the bottom. And that Cyclops hole is just a little. It's about a little over 5 millimeters by 1.3 on either side. And this just pulls out, I believe. It's like one of the O-rings is rolled on it. That is not what I was expecting, or how it to come out. I felt like it snapped there. So it does just snap in and out. I'm not too sure about that. We'll get that O-ring situated again. It looks like this is going to be for, or that's the drip tip. That bit that was in there. Looks like this will be a coil adapter. That bottom part is threaded there. Don't have any of the other coils, just the RBA section. So we will be building the RBA section. I believe the tank section is PCTG, so not a PMMA material, but similar, a little more clear. Let's see if I can get this out of here. And we've got a little manual for the dotAIO. I'll give you a quick look at that. Safety, battery safety, those sort of things. Nice that they have those addressed in there. And we've got the RBA section. That's how I was expecting what should have happened with this one. But the O-ring, let me take this O-ring off. The O-ring is rolled in there. So it didn't want to pop out how it's supposed to. Let's see if I can persuade that to come out. There we go. So I'll be wanting to switch out that O-ring. I think there was some spares I saw. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Now you see why they include spares. Okay. I think this only goes in one way. But I'm going to refit this using the RBA section since I don't have the actual heads that fit into these. Okay, I'm just boogering this all up every which way I possibly could. I'm going to see if I can get this taken back apart. There we go. Oh, looks like I'm going to have to persuade that back in. Hopefully not puncturing it. There we go. So that one will be available now. So the RBA, it's like you got four airflow holes on each side that are adjustable. It's like they kind of range from 1, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 5, and then it's like almost up to a 2mm coil, or 2mm holes on either side. And the RBA head just kind of twists off like so. And it is a postless affair. You got grub screws on either side. Kind of an interesting airflow hole. So it got larger on one side and another smaller on the other. Kind of interesting. And you got your little Allen key tool for your leads. Spare O-rings and fill plug. And you got this little adapter so that you can screw it onto a mod and test fire it. So you would just screw that out. And we're going to go ahead and do that here. Screw that in there. Okay. Alright, so I think I'm just going to stick with a simple wire build. Let me grab my wire. I'm just going to do a simple round wire build. Alright, sure, if I went through the literature, it would tell me exactly where to cut my coil leads at. But I'm going to kind of judge it here by where the holes are and kind of where I want my coil at. So let me snip that off here. Go right about there, which according to our coily tool is pretty much right at the, or this isn't the coily tool, it's an attempt at one. That's about 3mm. We're going to try that out. If I find out we need more, then we'll just take a half wrap out or so. And go just in case, a little bit longer on one side. And we're going to back these little grub screws out. And it does look like wrapping your coils clockwise is kind of the intended way to wrap them. And 3mm seems to be spot on. This is just a 26 gauge stainless steel. Like 7 or 8 wraps around a 2.5mm bit. Just a real simple, real tiny little build. But it definitely is taking up all that space in there. Raise it up just a little bit. Just want to kind of gauge, oh, excuse me, about how long or how I'm going to want to do the cotton here. So you're not going to want it to go all the way down, but you do kind of want it to fill out those channels there. But before we do that, I am going to get that put onto a mod. And we'll get our resistance checked and everything. Sorry, it was just making a mod available. Got the Vupu X217 right here. And it's reading at a 0.5 ohms. I'm going to drop the wattage down, or voltage in this case, down. And I'm just going to work on my coil spacing a touch. Get any hot spots, make sure we're glowing from the inside out. And sorry I didn't read up on the literature on it, but I do believe this has some sort of, or the dotAIO does have some sort of like dry hit protection, which I think makes use of stainless steel. So we'll see how that works using stainless steel coils. And since I didn't get any of the stock coil heads with this, I will also need to do a little research into that and see what coil head options are available. Whether they got mesh or if it's just round only or what. If you don't end up going with the RBA section. Oh, we did a little bit more than I wanted to. There we go. There we go. That will do nicely. So you just have that kind of airflow hole that's not exactly centered. It's kind of a side angle there. Right, let's go ahead and get some cotton in this. And it's not going to need much, but I just got some Japanese organic cotton, kind of rolled up. I think I've got too much cotton going on there, but we'll see here in a second. Okay. So the wick, or the chimney, threads down and the wick hole opening is just about to the bottom of the threads. So I'm going to cut my wicks just about to that point as well. I'm going to even them out a little bit. And I actually am going to go ahead and fluff these out. That ought to be enough. And then I'm also going to kind of trim them at a little bit of an angle. Don't want the wicks getting choked in the channel or against the chimney. But I also don't want it flooding or anything. Looks like I actually want to go ahead and trim a little bit more off of these wicks. Should be enough, but I guess we will see once we get it juiced up and start using it. But it does look to be enough wick. I'm going to try to get a little bit more off of the bottom here. Okay. Excuse me. We'll get that saturated here, juiced up. Just gotta decide what juice we're gonna do that with. I'm gonna try last of this here, the lemon cheesecake. Something a little new for me. Well, new for me showing it off, as you can tell from the bottle. I must have liked it, or I just spilled a lot of it. Okay. Get our chimney on there. Overjuiced that a little bit. And then it'll just pop in there. Oh, might be good if I took the 510 adapter off first. Otherwise, we're not going to have any airflow adjustability. And you should also be able to use, or at least I thought you'd be able to use this, but guess not. So, the RBA section, you are limited to its airflow O-ring. Make sure it's on there right. It is indexed. Has stopping points. Sorry about my juice covered hands right now. Oh. Does not like to stay on there. Okay, that's a little bit fiddly. It does stop one way to the other. Okay. And as long as you insert it facing out. Should be able to adjust your airflow while it is in your mod, or in the AIO. Go ahead and get juiced up. That flap pops open pretty easily. Not my favoriteest of fill sorts of methods, because you are going to need a finer bottle there. And I believe that this tank section holds a little over 3 mils of juice. You kind of got to rotate it to and fro if you really want to get full juice capacity. And it can get a bit messy, as you can see. Or if you're just kind of careless how I did that. But there we are. And then you'll pop it in bottom first. Just kind of snaps in like so. Sorry about the juice. And let me grab a battery. And go with a Samsung 30Q here. Positive down. Does have a spring-loaded contact on the negative. See it flashed at us. So setting your power. So 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. I'm going to have to read on the manual a little bit, but just firing away. So your wattage adjustment got 1, or so we got lowest, next, medium, medium high, and then high. I think it ranges from like 10 to 25 watts. I have it at the maximum power setting right now. Get a little drip tip back on there. Door with the little juice window there. Oh, the paint seems like it's pretty well either painted or anodized. More sorts of wobble with it. Right. And the airflow kind of enters through the side here, but it also passes through the bottom there. So depending on how you're holding it, or if you want to get a tighter draw, you could cover that up. But it's a little bit awkward to not cover that while you're using it. All right. Okay, let me bring this up top and talk about it. All right, here we are. So the dotMOD dotAIO with the RBA section in there. Got a coil that's about 0.5 ohms. So the the power range is adjusted by that little button in here. So depending on the ohms or resistance of your coil is going to dictate how much wattage is applied. So if you have a 0.3 to 0.5 ohm coil, the lowest or one light is 20 watts, 2 lights is 25, 3 lights is 30, and 4 lights is 35. And then 0.7 ohms is 14, 10, 16, 18, 20. 1.2 is 10, 12, 14, 16. 1.6 to 1.8 is going to be 8, 10, 12, and 14. So the build I have in here is going to be, it should be 35 watts. There we go. trying not to cover up the airflow, because depending on how you rest your hand, you could cover up the bottom airflow entrance, or how you have your finger could cover up the other entrance there. Not bad. Seems like it's wicking just fine. Get to the other side, maybe we can see some of the wicking, or see it. Possibly see it bubble. Oh, just missed it. But yeah, it's wicking quite nicely. So you see this channel in the back of the cover. So you got airflow that comes in through the bottom too. So even if you do got this covered, you're gonna get airflow from the bottom as long as your finger's not also covering that. And it does substantially restrict the draw if you have any fingers covering, or if you're completely covering this and just comes through the bottom. It does really tighten it up to near mouth to lung, not really loose mouth to lung territory. But yeah, kind of hard to find like the sweet spot to hold it that's comfortable and isn't blocking your airflows. Used to think that was an issue with the billet box, but it's on a whole nother level with this guy. Now, I don't have a functioning billet box at the moment, but if we're going to compare sizes, this is it next to the Delro. So they're just about the same width and length, but clearly the Delro is a lot taller. And this has an integrated LiPo rather than a swappable 18650. Another AIO here, the Vicious Ant Club Omega, which is a little bit taller, quite a bit thicker, and with so lengthwise, so it's taller, longer, and wider, and quite a bit heavier. And okay, here's my decommissioned billet box. Needs a new board in there, but they're just about the same widths. Billet box is taller and longer, so pretty decent size comparison there. This one being the smallest of all of them and still using an 18650 battery. So yeah, once you find a comfortable position for it, or maybe you find a spot where your hand is covering or fingers covering just the amount of airflow you'd like to restrict it to, it's all right. So packaging, scoring on packaging, that's going to be easy. 5 out of 5 there. It's presented nicely. You get a bunch of extras. I mean, I did get this used, but I know, you know, it will come with you get coil heads. Mine, rather than come with coil heads, I got the RBA section. So that is a pro, but you get your cable, you get your nice user's manual, stickers, certificate of authenticity. So it's about everything you need to start, and comes with an additional drip tip, more mouth to lung friendly drip tip. Pretty comfortable guy too. I'm not too big of a fan of the gold aesthetic, but it is tamer on this than some other dotMOD products, a little bit, but the drip tip, the 510 drip tip that it comes, you know, either of them are comfortable, but I do like this guy. Maybe not necessarily the looks of it too much, but it is comfortable. The build quality, so this coming used and the condition it is right now, so I can tell that the finish is well done on it. Pretty durable there. Looks like it's holding up well. As we could see in the when I was taking apart the tank and everything, there's some potential for O-ring issues there, being loose or slipping. Even the replacement O-ring kind of went on a bit looser than I would like, so just keep that in mind if you swap them out. Just be gentle with putting them back together. So I wish the O-ring tolerances were a little bit better. Let's see. I need to double check what, because how it comes, you can use replaceable coils, and I don't think it just uses proprietary coils. I think you can use some Aspire coils. I'm just not sure which ones exactly. Yeah, they got dotMOD coils. Comes with a 0.3 and a 1.6 ohm coil, and if memory serves me right, I think the 0.3 is a mesh coil and the 1.6 is just a regular round wire coil. I could be wrong on that. Definitely should have done more of my research here, but was just kind of eager to get this one done. So yeah, the machining on this one, the O-ring I got an issue with the O-ring tolerances, and we'll see how well those tanks and the material they're made out of hold up. This is, I mean, if it's going to crack for a juice, it would likely do it for this type of juice. It's a pretty potent lemon type juice, so we'll see how that goes. But machining overall, I think I'll give this a 4 out of 5 there. Commenting on the RBA section, it's pretty easy to build on. They're not going to get any huge coils in there. I would say 2 millimeter to 2.5 millimeter inner diameter at the max. I'd say you're not going to probably get any like exotic or Clapton type wires in there with the 2.5 millimeter. It's going to make the outside diameter, or just make the coils a little bit wider, so it'll be you could probably get it to work. But I just put a simple 2.5 millimeter round wire in there, 7 or 8 wraps, and it went in no problem. 3 millimeter lead lengths seems to be spot on for how long you want to have your legs when positioning the coil in there. And it comes with the Allen key that you need to tighten those leads down. So yeah, the RBA section was really easy to build. The airflow is kind of interesting. It's not just a simple single round hole on the bottom of it. It's kind of off to the side and a little oblong in shape, but it does just fine. I wouldn't say the flavor is really anything like remarkable, but it's on par with using. To compare it to a similar type device, it's on par with like your billet box, and using, like, if you use a sub-tank mini RBA head, it's kind of a similar experience, flavor and a little bit less airflow, I'd say, but flavor-wise about the same. Doesn't have like a ridiculous juice capacity, but a lot better than most other pods or AIOs out there. And yeah, so that getting to the juice capacity and fill method, I'm not really a fan of the little silicone plug that you kind of keep out of the way, and you need to use a needle tip to get in there. It's nice that you have the battery door that should, help keep that flap in place. It is, when the flap is closed, it is just about flush with the rest of it, if not a little bit taller. So the door can rest and help hold that in place. But definitely going to be one of those things you're not going to know until you've used it a while longer. But yeah, the RBA section, I think it's a little price-wise, it's a little on the steep side, but functionality-wise and not having to find coil heads and being able to use your own coils, the RBA section is about a 3.5 out of 5 for me. Airflow wise, so I've just been rocking it full open this whole time, but let me go ahead and take it down a notch so you can adjust it while it's in there, which is nice. So we've got 3 holes. Put that door back on because that does play a factor. Put it on the right way. Nope. Just trying to hit it like I do the Delro. A little bit less airflow, but notice some flavors improved. Alright, let's go down to 2 airflows. And they are kind of stepped. The airflow holes get smaller slightly between the holes. I couldn't get an exact measurement, but I'd say they range from like 1.2 up to like a 2 millimeter hole, maybe a little above 2 millimeter. And of course it probably says that in the literature too, I just didn't look that deep into it. So 2 holes I'm getting more to just about mouth to lung, or really loose mouth to lung. Yeah, the loose mouth to lung there with the 2 holes. So I've got no doubt we're going to be in square in mouth to lung territory with the 1 hole, especially since it is the smallest hole as well. And I would say, yeah, that is definitely mouth to lung there. But surprisingly, I didn't feel the need to mess with the wattage at all. But I am preferring it at its most wide open setting. A nice, good, restricted direct lung draw. Find it a little bit easier to use left-handed as far as not having your hand obstruct any place that you can get airflow from. The airflow is smooth and it's fairly quiet too. And I guess you do get that added, if you can consider it a feature, of tuning down your airflow even a little bit more just by where, depending on where you have your finger pressed on there, whether accidentally or deliberately. So airflow on this guy is going to be a 5 out of 5. You can really get it from. For me, it works out 5 out of 5 just because you can get a nice restricted direct lung, or you can go down to what I would consider a mouth to lung. And connectivity, I think they need to address that. So you do have USB Type-C, so you do get the quick charging if you do decide. I wouldn't recommend charging your batteries in your device. If you have a removable battery in a device, take it out and put it in a charger. Always recommend doing that. But say you're on the go or just need a quick charge, or wherever you do have that USB-C there for charging as well. And I hope more things start going over to having USB-C as the connection, even if you're not using it for charging. If there's like firmware or software updates, I just kind of prefer that connector anyway. So I think that just about wraps it up. I think honestly my biggest gripe about it is where they have the airflow situated. There isn't really a way that you can hold this just without thinking about it and not end up covering the airflow while you're using it. And the wattage adjustment, it makes sense, the lighting situation, or how the lights light up, makes sense that one light's your least power and all lights are your most power, and you can just kind of adjust those to taste. That's how I usually do it. But yeah, I think overall, it's going to be a 3.5 out of 5 for me, and that's mainly because the airflow. It ticks pretty much the amount of airflow you get, and the form factor, ease of build, options, everything really ticks all the boxes for me. I wish they would have been smarter about how they situated the airflow. I guess it really could have been alleviated, all the issues about potentially blocking your airflow, if the fire button had been, on one of the fronts rather than the side. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me. Sorry about the yammering on, but we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.